Hi, Duane Cofield, aka the Motivated Marketer, back with a special series for you guys. This series is not for everyone. It's exclusively for a small number of individuals who are really trying to change their lives. This series is going to be titled Drug Dealers to Businessmen series. So I'm specifically going after those who have participated in that industry like myself, who are trying to make the transition, need some help, need some advice, need some tips on how to truly make a transition in order from going from a drug dealer in order to be a successful businessman, either in person or online. I particularly chose the online pattern. We'll be talking about how I was a six-figure drug dealer going into being a six-figure online businessman. Wasn't an easy road, took a very long time, but I can give you guys my tips, my advice, some of the pitfalls that I went through, and some of the things to be aware of. One of the things that I would encounter when I would go out and speak at juvenile halls, that's another thing you guys want to be aware of. If you want to develop your brand and you think that, hey, I just went through all this trouble, you can still be a tool for or something of value for an individual who's going through it, a youngster, someone in the youth system, someone in YA, or someone in the juvenile hall system. When you go share your stories and experiences of what you went through and how you were able to overcome those obstacles, circumstances, and become successful, there's a tremendous value in that. And there's a tremendous value that you can serve towards these individuals who are in that. So when I would go speak to these individuals in juvenile halls, one of the things they would ask me is, hey, how did you get to where you are? And I would ask them, well, what are you good at? And they would go on a list of things. Hey, I'm a really good tagger. I know how to cut lawn. My uncle's a mechanic. Hey, you know what? I knew how to do, I would do burglary, so I would break into houses. And it got me to thinking that, God doesn't make waste at all. What he does do is takes you through a certain circumstances, really requires you to use your brain in order to figure out how you're supposed to transfer those skills into something that's marketable. So when I was thinking, I was like, well, what am I good at? And I would figure, hey, you know what? I learned how to package my product. I learned how to manufacture my product. So I went from being someone who would purchase retail, buying, double ups. And that's going to be another video we call margins and double ups. But I would buy a double up, basically spending $50 in order to, and that was kind of retail, you getting it kind of wholesale. Going into the manufacturing part where we started to cook it and we were able to increase our margins and so forth and so on. So I started thinking about what was I actually good at? How can I apply that to real business? And I started finding out that people in the real business world were doing the same exact thing. They were just doing it with legal products. So one of the things I realized quick was, hey, I have the sense to do it. I know how to do it. But how can I transfer it over? And another thing I was good at was supply chain management. We knew how to get it from here over to here without anybody knowing what was going on. And that's a specific skill set because you may be transporting high value things like jewelry. So a jewelry owner could be a perfect candidate for your consulting business if you're consulting him on how to get home to and from work, what to be aware of, people hanging around the shops, what your security needs to be paying attention to, people scoping the shop and how to be aware of those things. So you could serve a tremendous value. And other guys would say, hey, you know what I learned? I was a professional car thief. And I'm like, that is perfect because you can actually tell people how to protect their cars, where they're slipping, where not to park. Don't park here. You could do an ebook on how not to get your car stolen. If you own a Honda Civic, you own a Honda Accord, here's 5 tips on how not to get your car stolen from a professional car thief. You talking about tremendous value? I would say so. So when I started to think like that, I started to say, hey, I can maybe turn my message and start to tell them how they could use these skills in a real business setting. So if you're a home burglar, you were professional, what do they call it? I forget what the term is called, but the people that just break into houses right around neighborhoods. So imagine if you quit cold turkey and you came back and you wrote a proposal to neighborhood housing associations on how to consult them on how to protect their houses from getting broken into, packages stolen, because that's a new thing. If you know how people are scoping for that, you're not actually snitching. You're taking an opportunity that God has taken you through in order to make it profitable for you and your family. So don't think of it as snitching, but think of it more as, hey, you know what? I can tell them how to protect themselves a lot more. So I thought about the skills that I could transfer over, and I highly encourage you guys to think about the same thing. So we're going to start off with the very, very basics. This one was just kind of give you an introduction on what to be looking forward to. The next one, we're going to talk about image, on how to start to change your image, and it starts with your language, but more importantly, how you think about yourself. And if you bought into that narrative that you are this specific person, or you're just a drug dealer, that's all you're going to be. Well, I used to believe that until I got in class with a lot of these cats, and I realized that their parents are probably drug dealers too, or drug users, and you're my competition. I can probably smoke you too. So don't think that you are any less than anyone else just because you didn't go through the same type of schooling that they went through, didn't have the same type of parents, didn't have the same type of advantages. You can still compete, and I'm going to show you how. So come back next week. We'll still be doing our main Motivating Marketer episodes, but we're going to do a specific series for my drug dealing homeboys who are trying to change their lives. So if you're out there and you're still pushing, we got another video coming talking about trying to remove yourself cold turkey, because I know that's not easy, man. Let me just tell you a real quick one. I was still, in my second year in community college, I was on parole, and I was still getting it off between classes. So I understand it takes a while. Be patient, but we're going to work on that together. Your boy, the Motivating Marketer, we out. Next week, come back and make sure you subscribe. And if it's not for you, pass it forward to someone who it is for. Thank you.